What about the children playing in the street, dreaming of that good life, no shoes on their feet? Where is their mama? Where is their daddy? They need somebody. We all agree. Yeah. We can all agree. Yeah. It doesn't matter when lives are shattered to honest people like you. Yeah. Honest people like you. Yeah. What about that good girl working out the street, giving up that good so our babies can eat? Tell me, what would you do if you were in her shoes? It wasn't her dream. We all agree. Yes, we all agree. But it doesn't matter when lives are shattered to honest people like you. Yeah. Honest people like you. Yeah. What about the children? Life ain't what it seems. What about the children? All their broken dreams. Every day's a struggle. Life goes down a drain. No one gives a damn. Make the folks scream. Make you wanna scream. What about that good man locked up from the street, trying to make $1 to put shoes on his baby's feet? Now, their mama's working while time is certain. They need somebody. We all agree now, yeah. We can all agree. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter when lives are shattered to honest people like you. Honest people like you. Yeah. What about the children? What about the babies? What about the children? What about the living? Don't somebody care? Why are you so heartless? Why don't you not care?
KVNA FM with Gary Clark Jr. and Stevie Wonder. What about the children? That's from Gary Clark Jr.'s new release, JPEG RAW, freshly released. And we've got Gary joining us here on the KVNA FM airwaves. How's it going today?
I'm good. I'm chilling. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. And what an honor it must be working with the likes of Stevie Wonder and George Clinton, a couple of your collaborations on the new album.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. As I understand it, Stevie Wonder sent you a song with hopes that you'd work with him on it.
Yeah, he sent me a song with the idea that kind of jumpstart an idea and kind of gift me a song. I was like, okay, that's super kind. You don't have to do that, but yeah, I'll take it. So he's like, he sent me a voice memo, a demo, just asked me what I thought. I said I loved it. We went back and forth for a little while, figuring out production, and then when all the music was done, I was like, well, can we just make it a collab and you sing with me? I'm like, sure enough. flew out
hats
to California and laid it down. It was incredible. He's the
Yeah,
best.
it sounds amazing. And I have to say, hats off to you and your co producer for making Stevie sound like little Stevie Wonder again. He just really shines in the song.
Stevie Wonder is undeniably great. I mean, he did what he did. I appreciate that, but Stevie Wonder was Stevie Wonder.
When you set out to make the album JPEG Raw, did you set out to make it an album of collaborations? Because that's just a couple that I've mentioned.
No, I didn't really think about collaborations. That wasn't an idea of mine. When I did "Don't Start," the song "Don't Start," I knew immediately. I heard Valerie June's voice,
Uh-huh.
and it was just like it. I don't. It has to be her. So sure enough, she did it, and it was perfect. Just what I thought, like what I dreamed of. And then George Clinton, we reached out to him just because the song "Funk with You" really wouldn't have been a song if it weren't for George Clinton and Parliament and what they did for me and influencing me as an artist. So we asked him to
Yeah.
do it. We tracked him down. And he was cool enough to do it. It was really great to reach out to these folks and then like hit you up and go, yeah, I got you. With Nala as well,
Hmm.
um, Keon Harold, he always comes through, and so yeah, it's incredible. Thankful.
Yeah, yeah, it must make you feel a little bit accomplished because these big names are willing to work with you. And in fact, it's not your first brush with these legends. Child prodigy blues guitarist from Austin, Texas, born and raised there, which puts you in a higher echelon. Taken under the wing. Under the
It
wing.
yes, it does. It
It
actually
does.
does. I'm better than the rest of you.
Well, you actually still live there, is that right?
I do. I lived in Los Angeles and New York for a couple of years each, and once my wife and I started having babies, I was like, hey, we need a little help. So we moved back to the family and a little smaller town, a little quieter.
Yeah, well, Austin, Texas is certainly a hotspot for music through the decades. So, what a
Yeah,
great place to grow up. Now, as a child
yeah, it's really
prodigy
nice.
blues guitarist from Austin, you were taken under the wing of Jimmy Vaughn and the Antones crowd. So, trial
Hmm.
by fire, right? While still a
Hmm.
teenager, and then Alicia
Hmm.
Keys, Eric Clapton, Sheryl Crow, they all offered support at the start of your recording career. So, do you carry some of that wisdom that you gained in the early days? What was that, 15, 20 years ago now? Do you still have some of their wisdom that you bring with you to the recording studio or to the live performance?
Wisdom. I don't know if I would call. There are definitely things that have applied to my life that have been beneficial, and there have been some things that I've applied to my life that have been kind of a hindrance. But as I get older, I'm shedding the hindrance and going back to those lessons. Like I remember my first time out with Jimmy Vaughn, we were playing at a spot called Slim's in San Francisco. I was hanging out, I was underage, and all the guys around me were kind of drinking, and I was just looking around kind of lost. Jimmy didn't say anything to me. He just picked up a bottle of water and pointed to it and walked out of the room. Didn't really get it then, but later on, I'm like, oh, huh. He's telling me just keep it clean.
It's a good,
Trust me. All you need
good
is water. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have held on to that.
well, good advice, but you do have to learn things on your own sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been about 10 years since, a little over 10 years since your debut album came out. We're going to check out a
Woo.
little something from Black and Blue now. Gary Clark Jr. on KVNA FM with Bright Lights.
Woke up in New York City, lying on the floor. Just outside of Mosses West 54. Wow. You gonna know my name by the end of the night. Yeah. round. Bright lights, big city going to my head. Bright lights, big city going to my head. Bright lights, big city going to my head. I don't care, no, 'cause you don't care, no. Start off with the bottle, ended up with the bottle. Taking shots, waiting on tomorrow, trying to fill up what's hollow. You gonna know my name. You gonna know my name. Bright lights, big city going to my head. Bright lights, big city going to my head. Bright lights, big city going to my head. I don't care, no, 'cause you don't care, no. Somebody else. I know it ain't right, but it's all in my head. Well, I'm surprised that I'm still alive. I should be dead. Bright lights, big city calling to my head. Bright lights, big city calling to my head. Bright lights, big city calling to my head. I don't care, no, 'cause you don't care, no. Oh, you gonna know my name. Yeah, yeah, you gonna know my name. Hey, 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 you gonna know my name. Oh, you gonna know my name. Hey, yeah, you gonna know my
KVNA FM, Bright Lights from Gary Clark Jr.'s debut album, Black and Blue.
Throwback.
4 Grammys later, now showing your breadth of talent on your latest couple of albums, and including the latest one, JPEG RAW, incorporating lots of different genres of music. Oh, man, you mentioned earlier George Clinton's funkiness, but you also have some jazz, soul, hip-hop elements, all combined with your amazing guitar playing. I mean, Gary, come on. Have you seen you play? Your fingers fly over the frets. It's just amazing to watch you.
Yeah, I've watched it. I always pick out the bad moments, though. I go, oh, so it's tough for me to watch.
Well, as a listener, not a musician, I don't see any of those bad moments, and the sound is extraordinary. So, but your
Thank you.
latest JPEG RAW, explain what that means. What does that title mean to you?
JPEG RAW, to me, we wrote this album mostly during the pandemic, and I was glued to my phone because there was no going out, there was no social interaction. And so I was getting a lot of my information through my social media and text messages and feeds and timelines. And I was just kind of focused on that. And I was thinking, man, I'm spending a lot of time in this phone looking at other people's lives, watching chaos, watching tragedy, watching folks celebrate, watching folks, flex their, vacations. I'm on this boat, I'm with this person, I'm doing that. And, it's like, okay. And I just was like, man, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. And then I was sitting in this room I'm in, the studio, and it was a little bit smokier than it is now. And came up with this acronym: jealousy, pride, envy, greed, rules, alter ego, worlds. And I was just, it kind of made sense to me. Just for me, as I look back and as I'm speaking to you right now, I think it was really me breaking down this image that I've come to put forward as this guitar player, musician versus who I really am inside and who I wake up in the morning and who I look at when I'm brushing my teeth. They weren't really aligning. So I think I was trying to find, get back to like my core nucleus and have it be balanced again. I think so. Thanks for letting me figure that out with you live on air.
Going back to you making it during the COVID, it was a really rough time for musicians. I mean, a rough time for everybody, sure, but you guys were especially affected because you were suddenly in this holding pattern. Either you were holed up in a creative atmosphere or you were holed up in just waiting for the next thing to come to you. So I'm really glad to hear that you were being creative during that time period.
Oh, yeah. We had a good time. Just the human experience. It's just, here it is.
Mhm.
Here it is, for better or for worse.
Definitely.
And but there's something to groove to. There's some hope, there's some triumph, there's some fun, there's a little party, and then there's the blues because you can't that's never gonna go away. That's just here in my core, in my being for forever.
You're I read somewhere that you hope that the takeaway from the album is that listeners will go out and take a deep breath, listen to the birds, appreciate what they do have. And it seems to me like that's a lesson in being present. And that really connects with
Mm.
the songs too. Is that where you're at these days?
Yeah, I think so. I was getting a little frustrated during that pandemic. Mom really just kind of checked me as she always does. And she was just like, dude, look outside. Like, look around. You got a family that loves you. There's a beautiful sunset. There's a few deer jumping around. Just chill out, man. Like, the sun comes up every day. The moon shows up. We're gonna be all right. So that was, she always has to be like, dude, chill, man.
So you're getting ready to tour again. This is fantastic news. By the end of the week, in fact, you'll be out on the road.
Ooh wee! I can't
You
wait.
ready?
I'm so excited to get out. I'm so excited to get out. I can't wait to play these new songs. I can't wait to see where they go because when we play them live, things evolve and you never know what JJ's gonna
Wow.
do back there on the drums and where John D's and is gonna go on keys and it's just we're having fun in rehearsal. It's I'm just ready to bring it. I'm ready.
You're also wearing the hat of composer and producer on this album. I call you a composer because the final track on the album, Habits, is
Mm.
much like a 10-minute classical suite with multiple movements. I'm really taken by it.
Ooh, wee. I love that. That makes me feel good that you said that. Thank you. I had all these different parts, and one day I just put them together, and I started singing these lyrics, and I was like, this is what I've been trying to do. I have these dreams where I'm conducting, where I'm, you know, composing these suites, like you said, and luckily I caught one, captured it before the dream disintegrated.
I had read actually or heard you say that you were brought to tears in recording it.
Music is for healing, right? And I
Hmm.
think about making music not just for myself, but for other people. And I think that for this one, it was like, this one is for me. I need this more than I think. I need this more than anything. Whatever anybody else thinks about this, I needed this for me. That's why it's so tough, and that's why it's 9 minutes long because I had a lot to get out.
Yeah. Well, now you brought me to tears, Gary.
Sorry.
But thank you for sharing that. I know it's touchy to be able to relay that message, so we appreciate you getting into As we thank you for joining us here on KVNA FM in Northern Arizona, we play out with Gary Clark Jr., Hyperwave on KVNA FM. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Jules.
Let's change the world, tear our views apart before we fade away. Can we hit the restart? Go and get your wave, let the water flow. Start searching for answers no one really knows. I want something exciting. I don't know what it means. Cricket symphony listening, stereophonic epiphany. I'm on a red sunglasses strip, riding on a hyperwave. I can feel it now, headed towards a brighter day. You can come along, you can come along with me. Why don't you come along, why don't you come along? And expect the sounds of the city now, they just go on and on. I've left this place, transcended on, shut out all the noise, took the rest back home. Expand your mind, let the colors flow. Start searching for answers no one really knows. Found beneath the ether wave, found behind bloodshot eyes, the soundtrack of our conscience. I'm watching you from the other side. I'm on a red sunglasses strip, riding on a hyperwave. I can feel it now, headed towards a brighter day. You can come along, you can come along with me. Why don't you come along, why don't you come along? And escape the sounds of the city now, they just go on and on.
And I love the guitar work in this song. It's just fantastic.
Thank you.
So are you familiar with the Armadillo?
The Armadillo, the legendary classic club.
Yeah, it had closed obviously way before probably you were born, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But the legend is still strong and out here in the streets of Austin today.
I had heard you talk about how Pat Smear turned you on to an SG guitar,
Mm,
and I had to ask a guitar friend what that is, but he explained that he had seen Frank Zappa play, rip it up on the stage at Armadillo, and that's where he recorded his live album at the Armadillo with an SG.
mm,
So I just
yeah,
found that an amazing connection there. And do you
that's
still
a beautiful
enjoy playing the
connection.
SG or what? What's the new
I do, I
instrument?
do, I do enjoy playing the SG. But that SG that Pat Smear gave me, I let Elijah Ford borrow, who's playing bass and guitar with me in the band. He was like, I need
Okay.
something that bites. I need something that bites. So I was like, hey, here, borrow this. And he played it. He played one chord and he looked at me and he was like, come on, dude. He's like, I'm not giving this back for a while.
Some of the guitar work on this album is just, it seems innovative to me. The sounds, the distortions, the melodies, just really,
Mm.
how do you keep being different? How do you keep doing that? Even though it's kind of the same, it's your trademark sound, but it's different.
Well, this is what I did. When the pandemic started, I turned into a 12-year-old boy again. I turned into that kid who got my guitar. I remember when my dad came around the corner with this Ibanez RX-20, and from that day I went to every music store and I checked out, and like bought every music guitar magazine there was. And at one point, I feel like I was bullied into playing the blues by the older guys,
Uh-huh.
you know, out down at these jams. I'm half kidding. But so during the pandemic, I was like, well, what if I went back and, I got time. Who knows what's going to happen? What if I went back to that fork in the road and went the other way and just
Hmm.
explored that? And so that's what I did. And I went and really studied Eric Johnson and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, who in like 1998, 2 years after I played guitar, they came through Austin during the G3 like guitar
Hmm.
superheroes tour.
Hmm.
And I stopped paying that kind of stuff attention. All people told me all you need is three chords and the truth, and I was like, well, that's kind of BS, but it kind of worked for me, and I was kind of worked for me. And then I felt like I hit a plateau in the pandemic. I was like, well, let me just get it together. I spent a bunch of time on YouTube watching, people play, learning music theory, and getting deeper into that, and just educating myself.
Oh, good for you. Wow.
Yeah,
It's the best thing I think that we can do is to keep on learning, no matter how good we are at what we're doing. It's good to keep an open mind and delve into more things.
yeah, absolutely. While I'm mentally willing and physically able, I'm gonna do the best I can to be the best I can.
Awesome. Well, you're pretty close to it on this one, I think. So thank you for that.
That's
Again,
very nice.
Gary, thank you so much for joining us on the air here at KVNA FM. And we appreciate you popping in today.
Thanks, Jules. I really appreciate you.